making a lot of noise at AT&T Stadium.
Anything that moves between these lines, gotta get dealt with.
10-5, and he streaks in. Deep to the post to Lamb. At the 5, to the goal line.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Clarence Hill, City, Dallas. Cooper had a lot of passing attempts. What were they doing to take away the run, even before it got out of the way in the fourth quarter? He had like 39 after 3 quarters.
Yeah, we had a couple looks with motion, and it's just more about how they reacted to it. Particularly in their big nickel deal. We went to some base big fronts, so that I think we didn't hit on any of those, and just really couldn't get it going. Frankly, the run game, and that was a primary focus coming into this. I would have liked to have been a lot more balanced, run the pass. I don't want to throw the ball 40 times, and then I think just with the injuries up front, their pass rush got going there. After we got 2-score game and they got to a 3-score game.
Mike Todd Archer with ESPN, 20-10, it's 4th and 2. Can you walk us through the decision to go for it there and not take the field goal?
Yeah, definitely. It's 4th and 2. Matt had a good play, had a rub play there. Got the coverage we needed. It just wasn't clean on the outside. It got flushed and had a chance on the over route there. So it was a clean play. And I think it's just like anything. You can't have it both ways. We're trying to play it exactly right, managing the game. 14 play drives. Obviously had the big penalty on the field goal, but we needed 7 there, and 4th and 2, and everything that we were talking leading into that series that's a go for it situation, and I felt good about the call.
5 straight losses now, 5 in a row at home. How do you explain? Can you explain any of this, or?
Explain it?
Yeah, any kind of
I think the reality it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for everybody. Frustrating for the players. Frustrating for the coaches. I know it's it's disappointing for the fans. But we have a lot of moving parts going on, and we just have to be cleaner and more detailed in certain spots. We're not playing well enough, or execute well enough, coaching well enough to overcome some of the mistakes we're making at critical times in the game. So, just go, even in the first half, we had some opportunities there to get some more points and didn't get it done. We just have to play cleaner in these tight spots, and we did not do that tonight.
Yeah.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Thought process on the fake punt there in the first half.
That was your first word presented by Dr. Pepper. Head coach Mike McCarthy at the podium following a 34-10 loss. The Dallas Cowboys fall to 3-7 to the Houston Texans here at AT&T Stadium. Alongside Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. This is Cowboys Game Night, and we went straight to Mike McCarthy there because there's a little bit of frustration building for this Cowboys team, and it's not necessarily just here in Week 11. It's been over the course of this 5-game losing streak now, and now 5 straight losses at home as well, Isaiah.
Yeah, it's just not good. It's just not good, Kyle. Man, these guys are trying to figure out exactly who they are, and it's getting to the point now in the season where you're kind of losing hope. And for those of us that have been in losing hope type situations, unfortunately, guys start looking at the schedule. They start looking at the schedule and start saying, how many games do I have left? When is vacation? When are my checks coming through? And it's hard to really be a cohesive unit when that type of deal is going on.
I've been on that 1-15 at 3-30. You've heard me say this for the last 2 or 3 weeks. But what you have to do is you have to fight through. You have to be a bulldog.
Yeah.
You have to get in your house and stay in your house and see how you have to perform what the coaches actually. Now when coaches go in on Mondays and Tuesdays and looking at you and Wednesdays, they ask, who can we depend on? Who is closest to doing their job? And coaches are going to start fighting for their lives the way these players should be fighting for their lives.
If that hasn't even already started, it kind of feels like that's already trending in the direction in which this Cowboys team has been headed. When we come back here on Cowboys Game Night, we're going to see how this unfolded. Highlights and lowlights from the Cowboys and their 34-10 loss to the Houston Texans. Week number 11 in the books of the NFL season. We'll be right back after this.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
34-10, the final score here in Week 11. The Texans take down the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Their largest margin of victory for the Texans over the Cowboys in their 7 meetings all time. The Cowboys now lead the all-time series 4-3. Isaiah, Nate, I'm Kyle Youmans. Let's see how it unfolded. Cooper Rush starting in his second matchup with the Cowboys this season, entering at 5-2 overall, taking over for the injured Dak Prescott, looking to improve upon last week. After a 77-yard touchdown was called back on their first play, the Texans were not rattled. 6 plays, 77 yards, all capped off by this 45-yard tote from Joe Mixon, 7-0 Houston. Dallas gave it back after a fake punt, but 4 plays later, Malik Hooker takes advantage of the overthrow. If that ball was put on the money from C.J. Stroud, it might have been a touchdown. Instead, Malik Hooker gets possession back here for Dallas. What did Dallas do with it? Well, they gave it right back to Houston. Rush picked off in the secondary by Derek Stingley Jr. The Texans force a stop and get the ball back. They piece together a 10-play drive. Joe Mixon punches it in. They've got 6 on the board. They're up 14-0 at the end of the first. Dallas desperate entering the second quarter. This one was a big help. Kevontae Turpin finds an opening, 64 yards to pay dirt. First touchdown for Dallas at home since Week 3, Isaiah. This one was much needed.
It was major. This is a guy that they needed to get going. They obviously had him in the slot for a big-time over route. You see him working right in the middle of the field. Once you get him in the middle with nobody in front, it's all gas, no brakes.
Nearly 23 miles per hour clocked. That's the fastest player Dallas has ever had in GPS since Next Gen Stats was given. Now, there were some back-and-forth field goals. Brandon Aubrey from 40 yards out with a rare miss. It would be 17-10 at the break in favor of the Texans. They extended their lead to 20-10 with a field goal to start the third. Brandon Aubrey was given a chance for redemption from 64 yards out, and he absolutely drills it. But hold on. A personal foul for head slapping. I don't know if I've ever heard of such a thing. Keeps the drive going with a 15-yard and an automatic first down. So you wipe off the field goal. 64 yards from Aubrey. He made it look easy, but the Texans penalty keeps Dallas offensively on the field. So they go down into the red zone. On 4th down and 3, Cooper Rush in trouble, overshoots his target at the goal line. It's a turnover on downs. Dallas doesn't end up with any points. Same score into the fourth quarter. Cowboys on offense, but not for long. Cooper Rush fumbles. Tyler Guyton recovers and fumbles himself. Derek Barnett recovers and scores from 28 yards out. The scoop and score helped ice things for the Texans, put them up 27-10. They would tack on one more Joe Mixon touchdown at the end. He finished with 3 scores on the ground, but this was really a microcosm of what the Cowboy season has looked like.
Yeah, they just couldn't get right tonight. It was just turnover after turnover, bad play after bad play. You know, we've seen this a number of times, offensive linemen trying to pick up a run with the ball. Just bad football is being played right now. They have to get things back on the track somehow.
Yes. 34-10, Cowboys on top. Mike McCarthy meeting D'Amico Ryans at midfield, and this time Ryans gets the better of McCarthy. And you take a look at the numbers back and forth. The Cowboys went from 146 yards last week to 388. That's a step in the right direction. But Isaiah, you mentioned turnovers. Nate, it was also offensive line play. Cooper Rush really didn't have a whole lot of time to work.
5 sacks. Danielle Hunter was everywhere, all over the field, hard to find. We talked about Tim Settle, number 98. He was punished in the middle of the offensive line. This offensive line has to get healthy, has to get better technique, sound, and start playing as a unit. As the game going, they started to have leaks and cracks, and they showed up big in this game here.
Well, that was the thing, is they're not necessarily healthy. You have Zach Martin go down. You've got Tyler Guyton leave with an injury. Tyler Smith leave. You started with all 5 of your offensive linemen up front. You leave with only 2 by the end of it.
Yeah, that's a bad situation to be in, and it's going to be obviously a lot of football left to be played in this season, and you're missing majority of your key guys. So they're going to have to find a way to hone this thing in and get reinvigorated somehow, some way. You can't just ride this ship all the way down. Somebody has to get off and say, hey, we got to get out there and play for some pride. We have to get out there and play for each other and somebody got to make some plays. There's just a lack of trust right now with this team, but specifically on the offense side of the ball.
And that's really the thing, too, is Jake Ferguson also goes down with a concussion. He did not return as well. The Cowboys are really banged up on both sides of the ball, and it shows. The depth is certainly showing, and the Cowboys haven't had a whole lot of depth to work with even before the season got underway. When we come back, we're right outside the locker room here at AT&T Stadium. We'll go inside the locker room and hear from some of the players and coaches after the 34-10 loss. More Cowboys game night coming up right after this.
It was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Cowboys made it a point early and often to get CeeDee Lamb the football. He rewarded them with a pretty solid stat line. However, the Cowboys fall by 24 at home as another home loss and a continued losing streak continues to pile up. Here's what CeeDee had to say following the loss to the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, we were moving the ball up and down the field, but I feel like it's been our thing all season of not getting in the red zone and not scoring. Obviously, good teams do it, and we have been failing to do that. And it differentiates the score a lot.
How would you assess your relationship with Cooper Rush? It looked like there were a couple times there was a throw behind or just not on the same page through 2 games.
We missed 2 passes. I want to say that was as far as behind, but the rest were pretty good. I mean, I feel like he's going to be better. I mean, throughout the, as the season goes and progresses, you could tell that he's gotten better from week 1 to week 2 for him as far as starting. So the confidence is there for him. Happy for him. Obviously, we're moving the ball, but at the end of the day, we still got to score. We still got to win the game. Absolutely. The more we get involved with the game, we'll open up the offense for the running game. Obviously, for us, on the outside as receivers, we got to create lanes on the outside for the running backs. So when they do break, they have a big game. And then, with that being said, we can complement them by having an explosive play, and then we get in the end zone. Unfortunately, we haven't been doing that, putting our pieces together. We don't really have it figured out right now, and that sucks.
Steve, you've not been through this really before, maybe your rookie year, but how do you cope with it?
It sucks, to be honest. I mean, it's not so much coping, it's moving on to the next one. I mean, you can't dwell on it. I mean, what happens in the past is now in the past. And we're going to go look at this film, correct what we need to, and we got to go out there and play better. Get in the end zone. We get in the end zone, we have a whole different conversation.
Here's a look at the offensive stats. CeeDee Lamb had over 100 yards from scrimmage, 93 through the air. The Cowboys just 5 of 15 on third down conversions. And Isaiah, as we were sitting in the press box watching this one unfold, there were multiple opportunities with open receivers. There was some separation today built by whether it was the play calling or the play from the receivers. Cooper Rush didn't have a great day, plain and simple. He didn't play well. But what else did you see from the offense?
It was a perfect storm. The offensive line didn't take care of business in terms of protecting him and giving him confidence to sit in the pocket. He was being flustered. He was being sacked. He was inaccurate in his passes. A lot of that might have been because of the fact that he didn't feel comfortable and confident. His miscommunication, obviously, with the receivers. There was just a lot. Everything that you could pretty much say that could go wrong went wrong. Interceptions, fumbles, sacks, no blocking, miscommunication. It all was all bad. Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of positive to pick from.
Simply put, there was no run game. I mean, we had about 65 yards rushing. That hurts the quarterback of Cooper's status. You need to be able to run the ball so we can put some play-action pass. We weren't able to do that. You saw him a couple of times throw some balls in the dirt. That tells me that he was trying to bring that ball back a couple of times because he didn't like what he was seeing at the last minute. So just miscommunication. Like CeeDee said, I mean, if they score, we're looking at a different deal. But the bottom line is your defense is not stopping anyone either.
Well, and that's the thing is when the ground game's not adding to the offensive help, it looked like Dallas abandoned the run early. There was at one point a discrepancy of 42 pass plays and 13 run plays, and that's with your backup quarterback in the fold as well. Whether that was by choice or by game plan or just by necessity by that point in the game, it was kind of hard to tell, and the Cowboys couldn't necessarily get that scoring drive put together. That was what CeeDee said at the beginning, and I completely agree. They've moved the ball effectively, almost 400 yards total, but again, the red zone woes are there, and then late down scenario woes there as well. Let's hear from Cooper Rush when we come back here on Cowboys Game Night as he finishes up start number 2 in replacement of Dak Prescott, who is out for the year, officially placed on IR today. We hear from Coop right after this.
To watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
At first glance, you look at Cooper Rush's stat line, 34-55 passing, over 350 yards. It doesn't look too bad, but the fact that the Cowboys stalled out again in the red zone and could not find the end zone but for the 164-yarder to Kevontae Turpin. The problems on offense continue to stack up. Let's hear from what Cooper Rush had to say at the podium following the game.
Cooper, Tommy Yarsh, DallasCowboys.com. 2 losses for you here as the starter. As you kind of look back, what do you feel like this team needs to do better offensively?
Yeah, we just got to get the ball in the end zone. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. Had a couple chances, couple momentum there in the second half especially, that we just didn't punch it in. Starts with me. I missed a couple throws. You drop a snap. Just opportunities like that versus a good football team, you can't blow it like that.
Elwin Henderson, Gilmore Mirror. Cooper, you had such a great record in your previous starts. How tough has this been to accept these last 2 starts the way things have gone?
Yeah, losing's never fun. I was fortunate to get off to a hot start with the wins, but this is the NFL. Everything comes to balance, and winning's hard, and we want to get that losing taste out of our mouth.
Okay. Losing is fun, says Cooper Rush. Completely agree. Back with Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton. Along those same lines, you talked about the lack of hope and how it's kind of starting to, if not already gone from the Cowboys side of things. You guys have both been through seasons like this previously. What's the biggest challenge as you go into the final 7 games of the year?
Motivating the guys around you. But it has to start with somebody. Yeah. Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to want the win. Somebody has to care about their pride. Somebody has to care about the film that they're putting out there because it's your resume, and that's really what you have to revert to. Like, hey, even when the season seemingly seems lost, you still have to represent yourself, right? Before you represent the team, before you represent the organization, you represent yourself. So have enough pride in that to go out there and put out good performance because you're always auditioning for other opportunities, either with your own team or with another team.
Osa, Overshown, Kendricks, 3 guys I can name on defense, always wide open, always playing hard. That's the type of film when the coach is talking, hey, look at this, look at that. Hey, young guys, look at this guy. And that's how you do it. You got to take these guys that have a never-say-die attitude and start promoting them. Don't let the glimmer and glitz of certain players throw you off. You start with the guys that are doing what you ask them to do.
Well, and this is the first game of 3, first of 3 in 11 days. We'll talk about those other 2 games coming up. It's going to be a quick turnaround following the Monday night loss to Houston. More Cowboys Game Night right after this.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Cowboys Game Night for Isaiah Stanback, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll be back on Sunday as the Cowboys take on the Washington Commanders on the road at FedEx Field. For everybody involved in our Cowboys broadcast, we will see you next week.